Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID, followed by pound. Enter your participant ID, followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound. Please enter the meeting password, followed by pound. You entered 05191. This meeting password is invalid. Please re-enter the meeting password, followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There are 3
Hello? Hello?
Hello, this is Doug.
Hi, Doug. This is Don Dorson. Can you hear me?
How are you?
I'm doing good.
You're the only person we can hear, though.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you have to launch the meeting again, do you?
No.
You're already in it.
Can the folks on the call hear the folks in the meeting?
I can hear you.
I can
Wow.
hear you also.
Excellent.
Go back
Okay.
Where am I going to?
here.
This?
Remote participation.
Can the folks that are on the call let us know what item they're here for?
This is Don. I'm here for the Franklin Parks concerts, dates for our concerts in Legend Park.
Hi, and this is Doug for the Franklin Parks also.
New business B.
What is it you're trying to
I don't know. Where is it? Where are we looking at?
visual?
Okay, so we're about to call the meeting to order. For the folks on the call, thank you for joining us. Just a reminder to the folks in the room that the emergency proclamation allowing for remote participation expires tomorrow. So this option was offered. These folks are here for item B, VB. So
Should I sign off and sign off again? What's to do?
Tell her we can't, we lost them.
I am not getting any video for you. I'm sorry. This is Doug. I'm not getting any video.
we're currently sharing a screen with the meeting agenda on it. We will not be using the room video because you'd just be looking at us in a meeting. So
Yeah, we're not getting the screen either.
I'm not getting any screen. No, I'm sorry. I'm not.
okay, it's being shared. I don't think you guys have any visual material, so I wouldn't worry about it.
I can see the agenda on my screen, so that's working here.
Before until it's gone.
Okay.
Can you let us back in?
Is there any way to let us back in again or no?
You should be able to rejoin using the code. I think the chair would like to call to order though. And until your item is called, I'm going to mute everyone that's on the phone. Because we have some procedural things we have to do before it is time for your item. Okay.
Fine.
Excellent. We'd like to call the meeting to order and begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
6:33. Excellent. May we have a call to order and roll call?
Chair Michael Wrench,
Present.
Vice Chair Dave Bartles,
Here.
Secretary Jan Coonan here, Alderwoman Sherry Hanneman,
Here.
Commissioner Mary Remington,
Here.
Commissioner Karen Malecki,
This.
Kevin Schroeder, DPW,
Here.
Associate Planner Marion X,
Here.
City Engineer Glenn Morrow,
Here.
and Dale Borchard, DPW.
Fantastic. We'll move down to the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on January 10th, 2022.
I move we approve. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Now maybe it's going back to citizen comment.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. Are there any citizens at this time who'd like to make a comment? So we'll close the citizen comment period. And skipping ahead, I'll try to move things along. We'll jump on to new business. Item A, request by Jim Lucky, president of the City of Franklin Historical Society, place a memorial bench in the Franklin Historic Village located within Lions Legend Park.
If I may, Mr. Lucky's actually in a different meeting in the community room. So
We'll move that one around then.
he said he would be able to step out
Okay,
to join. So that's the gentleman that popped in a moment ago.
okay. So we'll wait for him.
Say again?
Should we wait for him?
Yep, they're
Okay,
just
that's fine.
over in the community room. Thank you.
Hello.
This is the board of directors of the Franklin Historical Society. They're right down the hall. We thought it would be convenient to talk to us.
There's a microphone here or the community mic is available.
Okay, it's okay if I sit here or just,
Whatever's easier for you.
okay, well, you're closer. All right, well, have you seen the packet, what I wrote? I think you can see it is a beautiful bench, and I kind of did my best to explain what was happening here in this note, and it's just we really would like this bench to be put in with our grounds. Eldred was a great man and did so much for the Historical Society, and his families just wanted to honor him with this bench. And I mean, that's basically what we're asking for a one-time waiver of the policy to get the bench put in. It's just, it would fit in very well with our buildings.
Do you guys have a specific location within the park you'd like the bench?
Well, yeah, we're thinking there's an area between near the cabin and in between the St. Peter's Chapel and the town hall. The most recently bench was put in by the city, was over by the schoolhouse, between the schoolhouse and the town hall. So that would kind of balance things out. I mean, a lot of people do use those pathways around the buildings, and even during the winter months they do. I know that because I shovel it. You know, so this would be just a nice place for people to take a little rest.
Sure. You guys already have the bench purchased and you're just looking for permission to install it. Would this be something you would be installing as a society, or are you looking for a DPW to install it?
Well, my preference would be for DPW to do it for, the main reason is because it'd be done right and there'd be no question that the install was improper. So that would be my preference.
Do you already have the bench?
I'm sorry?
He asked if you already have the bench.
Not in our possession, but the a family has it. The picture you're seeing is in their living room.
So a bench has already been purchased with the inscription.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to waste the money.
Yeah, no, it's already, I should have cleared this with you folks first. I did not. And then, so that's a little bit of my predicament.
And the installation, I assume, was just a concrete slab and secured to the slab like the other ones.
Yeah. It's a little bigger than the ones that you have in the park, but yeah, basically the same.
I'll go ahead and move to allow the park bench in Lions Legend Park between the Historical Society buildings.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, so we get to go back. Oh. St. Peter's Chapel.
On further note, Alderman Swenson was alderman. So he doesn't have.
That's awesome.
Right.
And you worked for NASA too? That's pretty cool.
He must have worked over it.
Did we vote on it?
Thank you, everybody, and we'll get back to our meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye now.
I know what it's like to be called into the principal's office. I was always a good boy. I never got.
Right. Yeah,
Take care.
Good night,
Bye,
thank
Doug.
you.
We'll continue with the new business and hop on letter B. Request by Doug Shear on behalf of the Franklin Parks Concerts for the use of Lion Legend Park Band Shell for a free summer concert series.
Yeah.
I will move approval.
Is he somebody, are we supposed to call them back in?
Hi, this is Doug. I'm watching I'm watching the video. I am. Mhm.
Okay.
And Don Dorson is here also.
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay, I'll second.
All in favor? Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
So when it comes to the concerts in the park, just so we've got it out, last year we were having quite a bit of issues with the parking in the park.
Okay.
And just so they're under the understanding, unloading and loading, and cars have to come out of the park.
We have
Okay.
addressed that. It's going to be in all of our contracts for all of the bands.
Thank you.
You bet.
So if there's violations, would that be something the police department would look to enforce or just? Okay. Okay. I guess we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Great, thank you very much.
Could I ask one additional question?
Yes.
Yeah, we had asked, we don't hire high-priced bands or anything like that, a couple $100, for the local bands that we can get over here. Is there any money from the city or, that has anything to do with the promotion or betterment of Franklin that we can have to pay some of the bands? Because all the bands we hire are done by private donations, and sometimes we're a little short.
I would sure to answer that, yeah.
Yeah.
And as I do sit on the finance committee, it's not something that's in our budget right now.
It was brought up in one of the meetings that we had for our board that there's supposed money, I guess that's taken for the betterment of Franklin or something to that effect. I'm sorry, this is my first year here, so I'm not familiar with all the terms that is, but it had to do with, I guess, hotel taxes and things like that, that it's supposed to do something for the betterment of the Franklin residents, so.
And I
And
think you're
promoting,
referring to-
promoting Franklin as a
That is something that you might want to take up with the Tourism Commission.
tourism commission, okay.
The Tourism Commission might be able to assist you in some sort of partnership,
Okay,
because their budget is actually run separately from the city of Franklin's budget.
okay. I thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. James, is that? So at this time, we'll jump ahead to new business for letter E. Proposal by City of Franklin resident James C. Slick, Environmental Commissioner, to recreate the Friends of Franklin Parks Group to assist with invasive species removal in the city parks.
I should jump in and coming from a commission that has zero budget and a big promise.
Yeah.
But thank you for a few minutes. As you probably are aware, the Environmental Commission was up for the past year and trying to figure out what to do about it. I've also worked with Washington County Parks research parkway issue here and quite honestly, one of the best solutions to addressing the folks here at Coach Park have been very in trying to help. But I think it's time to see we can reactivate our so that as this issue of buckthorn and other invasives, maybe other issues that parks face, we'll have a group that hopefully address it. They happen to be lunch. We have something like 500 members in each area, and I'm talking to them. People in the county, even the nature concern. The end of this month, we down here behind the movie theater. Here in Milwaukee, doing so I think it's something that get involved in. This is ours going to be a lot of the people, and I'm going to have in the parks. Have any other questions about invasives? What else friends do? I certainly.
Do you have people who'd be interested in spearheading it and being like a president of the Friends group or in organizing it, or? Sure. If we were to look to bring back the Friends group, are you someone who'd be looking to be the spearhead of it, the president, or?
I'm willing.
Okay.
I don't know if Parks has somebody who. I'm not interested in arm wrestling. The rewards are so immense.
Yes.
Have you spoken, the gentleman on the previous call, Mr. Don Dorson? He was previously in charge of the Friends of Franklin Parks Foundation. But they were a private 501c3 separate from the city's oversight. But I believe worked with the city and the Parks Commission and the Environmental Commission. I spoke to him last summer and late last summer, early fall. And he said he still has all of the materials. It still is an active 501c3. He's just waiting for someone to come along and pick it up. and go again. You know, and he and I had a little bit of a discussion, and I do believe the time is right for a lot of reasons, well beyond the buckthorn removal. So is your idea is that the scope would be only for buckthorn removal, or, you know, more wide reaching in the parks? Because I think that there might be some good fundraising opportunities for things to do in the park with things like decorations and ice, you know, lots of things that, and I think that if the call was put out in the community, I think it might get some traction.
I kind of envision this letter about deactivating the group and when we're ready. Very after that, no, I tried reaching out, email, never got a response.
Yeah, they might not be, you know, they've been inactive for, gosh, 8 years now, maybe. So that might stand to reason, but my understanding is that you wouldn't have to recreate the wheel. If that would be. Other thoughts, or?
Kevin, what do you think about a friends group? Mhm. Right. Mhm. Yeah. From my experience with friends groups, they are either fantastic to work with, or at times they tend to do something that doesn't align with the mission or the vision of.
Yes, that's what.
And that's the key, is just communication and having the relationship. So otherwise, you know, if they both work to the same thing, it can be fantastic as a fundraising arm to help with some other projects. As long as, you know, there's liability waivers and all those kind of things that come along with it.
As far as waivers go, you know, I don't know. It's almost like, it's kind of like the COVID question. You know, it's like, you go, here, fill this out, fill this waiver out, you can. Oh,
Yeah.
May I, another question? Is this something that's coming out of the environmental commission? Have they already discussed this and weighed in? You know, have they said that this looks like a good way for us to tackle the buckthorn problem?
I think it's one of the ways. He's going to. Serious. Also, the goal going to have with produce. And that's a process. But in my yard, I can say I had a favorable experience, but seen it for 2 years now. We'll be on the lookout again. I do think the friends, you know, I always try to reach out to them before, because I just thought it was a thing for people who are into wildlife, nature, birds, to be associated. I mean, the county has a Friends of County Park, covers like parks. It can, they have something. Restrictions, city attorney's office, stuck with us, you know, it's okay.
I think
If you have that gentleman's name and address for Marion, Marion,
Okay,
Get in touch with her.
awesome. I will do that.
We'll be back. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to stick around to hear what
Sure. Excellent. Do we need to make a motion on that at all? No. Okay. I guess while we're talking buckthorn, let's jump into letter D. Update on buckthorn removal and wetland restoration at a future park currently under development at 8120 South Lovers Lane Road.
So this is what we've been using as the term water tower park. I would suspect I'm going to get trumped here soon. Somebody wants to name it something else, but as you know, we've been looking to put some water towers there. As a side note, we are getting ready to bid that project. I've got, I think most of the folks up and down Lovers Lane somewhat angst because they will be assessed for the water main to connect to our water tower. But having said that, it's going to take us 2 years about to build the water towers. And I have been part of many wetland restoration projects or bioswale projects where you have a big ribbon cutting ceremony, everybody goes out and looks pretty disappointed. It's pretty ugly the first couple of years. So my thought is I'd like to get underway and start developing this park and some natural features, wetland plants, and I will discuss that later. So that when it actually starts to grow and look good is when people will really start to see it, because we're going to have it tied up for 2 years doing the water tower. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of buckthorn. So we had, before we purchased the park, we had the whole site wetland delineated. We went out and reestablished the boundaries of those wetlands. We hired a contractor to go in and clear cut everything that was not in the wetland. The larger buckthorn trees, they chemically treated. The smaller ones, they just mowed over. The whole idea was we wanted to shred up as much as we could so that DPW can at least start trying to get a handle on making some regular maintenance. It was so, I mean, you couldn't even get in there. So they shredded everything up, laid it on site. And it's going to take a while for, to start decomposing and get settled down. But it is amazing if you haven't been by the site, it's like, wow, that's what that site looks like. It's amazing to realize how quickly buckthorn can take over. Side note, our contractor's subconsultant or subcontractor got a little lost one day, cleared about a 1/4 acre buckthorn on the neighbor's property. Neighbor was upset. It seemed like we did them a favor, but so be it. They figured out how to make each other happy, but without the city being involved. But the buckthorn is just everywhere. So we're going to at least get the opportunity to at least start trying to maintain it. I understand there is still buckthorn in the wetlands itself. And we are talking later on the agenda about, or is that this one? Yeah, wetland restoration. So we're also trying to work with a group called Root Pike Wind that we have a relationship with. It's a 503c corporation that, if you will, not for profit. And they help us with our stormwater MS4 kinds of activities, so forth. So they have some expertise in this area. They are trying to help us find some grants, trying to help us come up with some plans. And then we also have some funds with MMSD green funds that I think I can use for this sort of activity. Long story short, we want to do the wetlands right. And so go in and clean out the rest of the buckthorns, but then enhance it by planting species that would take over and are pretty to look at too, not just the one continuous, ugly looking wetland kinds of stuff. Then when the water towers are up, so either next year or the year after, we might be talking to you about when you want to actually have a consultant plan out the area. And so some conceptual ideas might be that we'd have a small restroom. I call it the Gruber restroom, one stall, that's all. It doesn't need to be a lot. Maybe a men's and a women's, that's kind of, not a lot, but then you could park there and you could walk around. Maybe if I'm speculating, a few boardwalks to kind of cross the the wetlands, a few, neat locations, have some benches where you could sit and kind of just observe things. They've talked about even creating some scrapes, wetland scrapes and additional plantings and so forth to really enhance the look and feel of the whole area. And there's a possibility too, we could also extend the trail system to maybe come out by Target, and there's the Lutheran Church has an access to the pathway. I don't know a lot about that other than used to somehow go through the Aurora property and back there. So those are all up in the air, but we'll get a consultant on board at least next year, if not 2024. And like I said, we're getting ready to bid a water tower. So that will have the site tied up for probably 2 years. And then afterwards, we'll start working on a park.
When was that?
Root. ROOT.
Pike.
Pike, PIKE. And I think it's Watershed Initiative Network. So capital W, capital I, capital N. Root, Pike, Win. So Common Council has signed the documentation so that that organization can act on our behalf and show people the site and try to find some funds that might be available.
So can folks picture where the site is? It's south of Target. I think we've talked about it a little bit before. I thought I had a video to show that was from the drone, because we flew it, engineering flew it before this clearing work was done, and then this is kind of the after picture. So you can see the wetland here. They stayed out of the wetland buffers and setbacks as much as possible, but went through and kind of took out a pretty significant infestation of buckthorn. So this site has a lot of good natural resources on it, and this is a very high quality wetland. So it's very desirable to preserve it and to improve the quality of it.
Karen, can you kind of show where the water tower is going to be with your arrow?
It's actually going to be over here. Let's see if we can find another.
Where the what?
There's a lot of pictures.
I think you had it right there.
It's hard to, why don't I do a map?
Go back to the picture you just had.
I just had. Can't tell. Oh yeah, so this is the spot. So Lover's Lane is right here, basically. So this is looking southeast. So this is the wetland complex. And then Highway 100 is kind of out of the frame right here. Yes.
Both. So we'll have an entrance and exit on Highway 100, and we are allowed up to, I forget the exact, it's like 10 or 12 parking stalls. Anything larger than that, we must use the drive to the north. And so we are talking with the Tri-County Baptist Church about actually acquiring that and making that the actual drive for the park. Yeah. Find the aerial or?
I mean, I didn't go through these beforehand, but we could look at a map too. So this is the drive here.
So
this is the property line.
Is over here.
Yep.
Church is over here. I think the towers must be like over. That's up. That's property.
Can we look at a map? This is the site.
Our site. This is that private drive. There's a home right here that has drives back property line. 21. So the big wetland complex will have a couple hours here. You drive in. Probably the parking restroom here.
Where?
It's a wetland.
Mhm.
No, Evans,
Oh, Evans. Here's the.
And then there's
that's
this,
the actual pond in there.
kind of hard to see it, but there's this large pond and this one. They're
That's what-
connected.
Evans
Yeah.
Pond or-
No, I was talking. So it doesn't that far?
No, this is, the property line is approximately. This looks like it's probably been dredged, or had some work done to take out invasive cattails. So it's possible that as wetland restoration progresses, that some of this might have standing water in it. So it'll be interesting to see how that.
So.
Yep.
In the church, there's. I haven't talked to. Take it. Come through. Halfway or up.
There used to. Probably.
I would be. Last year, I probably said it doesn't. We all walking. I think it still gets a lot of.
Yeah, you can see a boardwalk and some fairly recent.
You said it was 2 years to complete the first one?
Good 18 months. Contract. So they'll eventually have 2 towers. That right here, I'll build this one. Sure.
What's it gonna look like? Towers similar to what we have, or?
It's composite, so it'll be concrete. Like a concrete.
Why two?
We looked at options. We looked at putting one northwest, one southwest. Makes sense. I won't be property. You need to eventually. If we put up one really, really large one now, water would go. Won't have too much water.
Oh.
The rule of thumb for how. That's frankly.
Really makes a difference when you drive down Highway 100 now to see in there. It's amazing. When all that buckthorn's gone.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure.
I guess while we got the map up, let's take a look at letter F. The recommendation of the common council to pursue the purchase of approximately 40 acres of parkland adjacent to the western boundary of the Franklin Savannah State Natural Area in West Oakwood.
Well, this is the Franklin Savannah. It's a Milwaukee County park. Well, it's actually not a park, it's a natural area. And so they own a set of parcels here that include this Oak Savannah. And so this commission has discussed a recommendation and made a recommendation to purchase a park in this quadrant of the city. Some of you may be aware that there's a proposal to develop lands adjoining the property, and there's been a couple of different approaches to that proposal to do what's called a subdivision plat, to split these lots up into residential parcels. This property immediately adjacent to the Savannah has a future land use designation of recreational property, but what's in the corp is a broader recommendation that a parcel adjacent to the Savannah be purchased. So the future land use reflects this particular parcel, and the corp reflects kind of the general recommendation. So, and you, the commission, had made a general recommendation, so that's the context.
And where your little arrow is, that whole like tan area, is that 40 acres there, or is it just part of that? That's the 40 acres.
This parcel is roughly 40 acres. I would have to double check on that
Mhm.
property viewer to be sure, but
Is there any of the property that's directly attached to Oakwood? So is access?
this property is landlocked.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a subdivision in front of it there,
Mhm.
and that's where the entrance would be,
The current proposal is for,
west of there.
yeah, there's been a couple different versions and I am not the planner reviewing this, so I will kind of, unless Glenn remembers what's current. So this parcel and then these lots here.
Last we saw planning commission off the table. There was a
Okay,
subdivision basically up here. Subdivision as per concept. Where there's zoning. At the zoning. It's tomorrow night.
Mhm.
So as the proposal sketches show, a couple roads that would come into this, that would.
As well as bringing in utilities, water and electric there. But I did ask the chairman and Marion to bring this back again. When council looked at this in November, October was Plan Commission. They came out of closed session with no action at that point in time. And so I've asked that the Parks Commission look at this and make a supporting recommendation or a recommendation with emphasis, I guess, for lack of a better word, if indeed this commission would like it to remain as parkland and purchase it for the city. Not with any intent to develop it as a park for the near term, but basically to bank the land, to preserve some of that natural space. It seems there's been a great interest from many of the residents in that area who, as development is creeping into that corner, they've been fairly vocal about the desire to want to preserve and have the parkland down there that has been, albeit promised them through the corp, and sort of reinforced by the parkland acquisition plan that we did this past summer. And I had a brief conversation with the city administrator, and we do have concerns about spending the park impact fees that we need to spend. So this would be a way to get us in good standing with our park impact fee money, following the corp, following the comprehensive master plan. So I'm just bringing it up for discussion again. If the commission would like to make that recommendation or recommend something else, at which point the council could take that under advisement, and if for future, if that would to come back as a proposal by a developer again. But I think that the community is asking us to be definitive on what we want to have happen with that piece of property.
I think long-term it makes sense, but in the last 10 minutes, Kevin's picked up like 61 more acres of area to maintain.
You don't have to maintain it for a while. Just let it sit, let it grow buckthorn.
Yeah, I think long-term it makes sense.
Buckthorn ground cover.
is someone currently farming it? They could just be farming it.
It could be leased out for farming possibly.
Yeah.
I believe it is, Marion,
Yes, it is.
yes, if I heard people at the recent plan commission, I believe that the person who's leasing the land to farm right now came to speak.
I think long-term it makes sense. We need to spend down some of the impact fees. I believe real estate only gets more expensive as you wait. But if we could look to purchase the land and continue to lease it out, where we're not putting a burden on DPW to maintain it. In the current time, I think it makes sense. Sir.
So it would be nice to get some direction too. So if you recall, last year we talked about the waste management lands. And so we talked about a couple of consultants that we looked at, and so I don't want to say we selected a consultant that's most appropriate to do it. We told them to wait. We said it could be those lands or it could be possibly this land here. So I mean, I appreciate the idea of wanting to sit on it, but if you decide this is really something to go, I think we need to start thinking maybe next meeting or meeting after, let's give some direction and at least get one of the parks designed and master planned and ready to go.
Sure.
How far from there, the DPW, is that the next quarter section or what? I mean, not DPW, waste management.
Yeah, it's it's just south of Oakwood Road. In fact, it would touch Oakwood Road.
Yep, so this is a parcel, and then the lands that are under an easement and will be transferred to the city start here. Kind of go like this. One parcel over here, but I can't quite tell which one it is on this. So
I thought it was further back.
no, they're not adjacent, but they're nearby. The corp also includes a trail on 112th Street as on-street facility, like long-term to connect those, but there might be other options. That was something that we've talked a little bit about with thinking through trail design.
Excellent. So we're looking for a motion on we want to move ahead with the purchase of this.
I have another question.
Sure.
Are you saying it has to be one or the other because they're too far apart? It has to be the
I guess
management or?
we have talked about a southwest park. I mean, this is obviously something for you to discuss. I didn't think that there would be a appetite to have two parks in that area. Which would you rather have? And I think I'm hearing that you'd prefer the northern park as opposed to the southern park. I know the mayor did have some concerns about putting a park, quote unquote, building it for Raymond. This does put a little bit more centrally located. I mean, again, you're not gaining a lot of ground, but you are pulling it a little bit further north. So I guess that'd be a topic for discussion for this board to talk about.
I thought that land was, maybe I misunderstood, going to be given to the city of Franklin for free.
It is. It's ours as soon as we want it. We have it.
If I may, the southern properties are under a conservation easement that would have to be changed if we wanted to add a lot of facilities to them.
I think I know some aldermen that can maybe do that.
Yeah, well, it's a consideration.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, that's a nicer piece of land. I think there's woods back there and hills and eagles, and whereas the other one's just farmland.
Yeah. So this in the corp,
but it's next to the nice woods.
Yeah. So in the corp, this was the area that was envisioned as kind of the most programmed park in the city, to supersede Lion Legends, I think, is having a lot of facilities in it. And then this was an adjacent conservancy. So
if
they're meant to be complementary, but
if we didn't take the land from the landfill, what would happen with it? That can't be subdivided, can it?
No, it cannot be developed as and that was the restriction. They don't want to be developed as another subdivision or whatever. So the thought was this would be the buffer between the landfill and other development. Keep in mind, landfill will fill up someday, and then they'll do something over there. But Marion's right. There is a conservation easement, but preliminary investigation appears that it's something we the city said it, we the city can pull it, we can make it whatever we want. The whole idea is that they don't want to create subdivisions there. So it needs to be some sort of park space or left alone.
However,
Place.
taking the free land doesn't help us with our impact fee spend down.
Correct.
So it's kind of a,
But it's true. And so before we talked about this parcel, the free land, we were going to spend the fees by actually constructing something, go to town and build it. So now we're into February and we haven't done anything. So it's going to take us a while to get moving on whichever. The very right, the northern parcel would help us spend a lot of funds this year, which would be very nice. But that's not to say you can't develop both parks. I just didn't think that there was an appetite to develop both parks.
I would lean towards purchasing the northern property, developing that, and the free land as a natural buffer. Maybe it's just a future trail, just leave it as natural, everything.
So the recommendation of the, sorry.
Is the northern parcel the farmland?
Yeah.
Yes,
And that's, we have to buy?
you would have to buy that. Yes.
The recommendation of the parkland acquisition study was to purchase a parcel for future use and to do trail development, because that has a lot of opportunity to spend down funds while building up our trail system. But there's a greater opportunity to match impact fees. So that recommendation has already been put to work to some extent, working on the master plan for the Ryan Creek Trail that you discussed at your last meeting. But this item is still outstanding. So it doesn't have to be this parcel. The city also did go through something of a search process 2 years ago now. It's the first iteration of that parkland acquisition study. So if there's a thought that maybe this parcel doesn't really meet the city's current development goals, then you could pursue something different. But right now there is a lot of open questions because this property actually, it also adds a layer of complexity to develop it as anything else because of the future land use designation. So the city had said, we think this parcel is desirable because of the Savannah. And in order to change that future land use designation, there's a procedure to do that, which is proven as sticking. So as it should, because the city had staked a claim on the property. So at this point, I think, if the commission wants to make a recommendation about that particular property to council or otherwise, provide some other direction, be helpful because there's an ongoing debate about what to do with it. So.
and if I'm corrected, Plan Commission, just recently, deny an amendment to the comprehensive master plan to that 40 acres.
To clarify, they did not deny the amendment. They were unable to reach.
That's right. Sorry.
So, and
Correct.
in light of their inability to reach a decision, the Plan Commission is the body that makes land use decisions for the city. Common Council couldn't supersede them.
That's right.
So.
Is there any significant advantage or value of buying the northern property that's farther away from the landfill? As far as being next to a landfill, being farther away? If that question makes sense.
They both have nice features. The northern parcel is a nice, relatively flat. I mean, you can put a lot of, your cricket pitches, your pickleball, your softball fields. You could fit a lot of stuff there.
Easier to develop.
A lot easier to develop. Yeah. The downside is it's somewhat off the main road. So, for example, Evergreen in Pleasantview, those folks tend to not like traffic going back there to Evergreen. So now you're making people go through a subdivision, same issue. So there's that. But this does back up to the Franklin Savannah, which is a nice featured it would be nice. I mean, we talk about it a lot, but I don't know if you can even get there. So it'd be nice to make that accessible. Those would be some nice features. The southern site, again, it's free. It's got good access. Yeah, granted, it's next to landfill, which doesn't sound great, but it's. I've been to a lot of parks where old landfills or covered up landfills, and you can create those in such a way that you can have hiking trails up and around them, and people put snow hills on them. Those kinds of things. So, if done right, and I don't know what the closure plan looks like, but it will close someday. It'll be nice to have that.
Thank you.
And it's free.
Yeah. Tough one.
It is. And I guess the way I see it is this is an opportunity for us to take this land and I'm very concerned for our park impact fee spend down. And keeping an eye on that in the near term may be tough. And I see the value in the southern parcel, but only at a point in time that landfill's closed. And then it could be developed as more of a complex. And maybe even a public-private partnership in that regard. So I see that southern property as far more long-term.
That's a good point. So let me add it. If you don't develop the northern parcel, you'll be stuck with only the southern parcel. If you don't develop the southern parcel, it'll always be there and you can go back and forth.
What was the acreage of the southern?
About 108. Sorry.
I was thinking 120, but you might be right.
120 plus the parcel it's connected by touching corners. I mean, technically you can't go from one to the other without stepping on somebody else's property because they touch with the corners.
Yeah, it's north of 100 because there is a set of lands that are in the list of properties that Waste Management has offered over to communities, but some of them are in Raymond. So it might be that the 168 part of it.
Yeah.
It bothers me that it's not off a main road. If we were saying it was right off 112 there, 100, that, because the evergreen, I think, is just always going to be a problem for the people living there. And it's harder to find those parks too, when you have to go through a subdivision.
That's
But
true.
are we talking cost?
I don't know what the asking price is for this.
Council did not make a recommendation to go into negotiations on that. So that at this point would be, I guess, up to the Common Council to decide what that would be, what type of offer they would like to make. So there's no guarantee that would be taken, but our Parkland acquisition plan recommends a fairly wide range of prices. And so I think that would take a little more study.
The Parkland acquisition plan had, I think it was $40,000 an acre as the estimate that was used throughout the city estimate cost.
So what if we recommended the city buy it? And then 5-6 years from now, we have the kind of.
No, you were. Yep, turn it back on.
Okay.
I got it.
But if the city bought it and then they decided down the road, they really would rather be, or there's a better opportunity elsewhere in that southwest corner. I don't know necessarily where it would be. Could the city sell it then? Just turn around and if we hadn't developed it or put certain water to it, we could turn around and sell it, right?
I think there are some restrictions on what could be done because park impact fees were used for it.
Oh,
at that point. So I think I don't know that it could be done that easily. I don't have the details on it, but I think that would be a little tricky.
Okay.
But it could be leased out to a farmer, continue to lease it out.
Well, if that's the only section of land that we have in the southwest corner, other than the landfill, that's the only place we can make a park, and it's adjacent to the nice woods there, the savanna. I suppose it sounds like a good idea then.
Yes, sir.
Right, good. I've had the chance to walk. And I would strongly urge about what that is. It is not. I think he described it as a mixed second growth woods. You're gonna have to invest seriously. A long way from.
Thank you.
To answer that, we've, not necessarily with Brian, but we have had extensive conversation internally. We are not, staff is not aware of any improvements that county has done on either parcels in the city in the past in memory.
When you get more to the eastern part of it, it's more like a savanna where the big oak trees are and the river comes through there. But you're right, along this piece of parkland, it's just really buckthorn and wild. Well, do we have to make a decision?
We don't have to. We can
Tonight.
always table and discuss again.
Is there information that the commission would find useful that we could put together for you to help move this discussion along and bring to the next meeting? We could revisit the parkland acquisition study and what did go into the budget, the capital improvement budget for these projects.
If I may restate your question without offending you. We mentioned park impact fees. It's already February. If there's things you need to know, that tabling is the appropriate thing to do. If you just don't think about it, because you're not, I don't know, I guess you table that too. But if you think it's really a good idea or a bad idea, I think it's probably appropriate to make a decision now so that we can, it takes a while to get things rolling so we can make purchases and that sort of thing.
I guess I would lean to table it until March, and if maybe we could have a list of the park impact fees along with and revisit the study, take a look to see if it makes sense for us financially.
That may be a little tough by March, given that we don't have a finance director at the moment.
I mean, I can provide the tables that were produced last fall.
Oh, and those probably wouldn't have changed dramatically for the ones that we need to spend now, so.
Not right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
okay.
the current
Okay,
Well, we
expenditure.
know what that land is worth, because I don't understand, we haven't gone into negotiations yet to buy it. I guess how much impact fees would be applied to that? Is that the table you're talking about, or
So
do we need to know what that land's worth before we can figure out impact fees?
there was the Parkland acquisition study made a recommendation, and we also have a quantity that is a known amount of impact fees available that must be spent in 2022, which is probably sufficient to purchase that. And if not on its own, then certainly over the current on-hand impact fees. I will remind everyone that it's a significant amount of money. In terms of the price of that property, because there is a development proposal on the table, it might just be publicly available information. Like there's a listing. I haven't looked for that. or we could ask the developer, but there has been some discussion because there is an interest in putting houses on this property. I don't think they would disclose exactly what where they are at with the negotiations for that, but
Do they have some sort of plan for the subdivision going in there? Would you be able to see the roads and how we get in there?
so they have put forward several different ideas. This property, the first idea that encompassed this property had a road that kind of looped, there's actually a lot of wetlands on this property. So it kind of looped past this wetland complex, I think this parcel into several roads and then came back around. So they've done a concept review and multiple applications for rezoning and plan amendment, but that information would be in plan commission or my council packets, and I could show it to you as well.
And just see if I've got it.
What's the time frame on that?
They are on the next plan commission again. They have made the request repeatedly because it has failed. So plan commission has denied their subdivision plat.
Why?
Because of the future land use designation. So it's designated in our future land use, which is there's a document called the future land use map, which is the city's plan. A little like the corp, but it covers all the potential uses for the city. So is this property going to be commercial in nature? Or is this residential, et cetera? And that property is designated as a park.
It's one of the very first proposals, from 1026. But there's been no site plan that has been approved, but that's just purely conceptual.
In order to do the development, they have to go through a set of procedures, revising the future land use if they're going to do that property, rezoning, because most of this property is agricultural zoning right now. And then a property division. So, but that is aside from the question before you, which is what do you want to do with that property, or if you want to make a park purchase. So we're kind of in the weeds a little bit on a proposal that you don't have any jurisdiction over. So it's valuable to know that there is a desire by this specific developer to develop the property. But at the end of the day, your purview is over parks. So I don't mean to withhold information from you, but I want to remind you of your responsibilities. So.
Excellent. Does anybody have any thoughts or motion or? I personally would lean to table it till March. Get the information on the park impact fees, what we have to spend down. Then maybe we can make a better informed decision.
Yeah, it seems like we're at a crossroads, not going anywhere with this discussion, so may as well do that. I agree.
Then I'll move to table till the March meeting.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Ayes have it. While we're on the new business, we'll finish it off with C, the park amenities donation policy.
So you, the commission, have had a lot of discussion about different amenities that have been proposed for the parks and the pros and cons of them. And so Alderwoman Hanneman was kind enough to actually capture a lot of that discussion and put it together in the item that was in your packet. So
And this is truly draft. And I really put it together through doing a lot of research on what other communities across the nation and in the Midwest are doing, and sort of condense this into a best practices that I saw, and took what I thought might fit our community the best. One of the big things is that we really haven't done, or we have and we just don't know that it's been done, but is the tree donations. And there are a lot of communities that make a really big deal out of that. Which actually is kind of something that could be good for the Friends of the Parks to do if we had the Friends of the Parks, but that could change later. I'm thinking off the top of my head now, but you know, so this is just a starting point for a working document. You know, I just kind of guessed at some prices in there and costs, and so great to hear discussion on it. Thoughts from DPW staff. I think that this is kind of fitting what we were talking about, or
Understood in Dale's comments.
yeah.
No, I hope you didn't take that.
No, not a
No, not
bit,
at all.
not a bit.
Nope.
And that's why I kind of wanted to at least get the ball rolling on this, to maybe hope to address some of those concerns and issues that you have, you know, maybe not all of them, but at least.
Well, what about that can be done? We made the motion for that, to that guy, that he could put a plaque on the benches that are in Franklin Woods, and really, that's not right. It's city property and he shouldn't be able to just put a plaque on it.
That one's on.
I mean, currently in some of the parks, we have existing benches that are permanent or anchored into the ground. If someone's looking to do a memorial bench, we just look to put the memorial bench in the place of a permanent bench as part of a replacement program. Keep it up to like the standards that are have with design and the effort along those ways. And I understand that when people come through, you know, they want to donate a bench, they want to make a memorial. I understand that. But I do think we need to revisit where we're at, because as we're putting more and more things in, you guys just acquired 180 acres of parkland. If we would have said yes to the last one in the last half hour, and your department didn't grow any bigger. So we'd hate to put more on you down the road with replacement of materials and benches, especially if we don't come up with a standard of this is the bench we want, this is the replacements. So it's easy and it can go about things quickly along those ways, so everything's uniform. As far as like the existing plaques, I see why we did and what we voted on. It was in the past, but I think moving forward, we should maybe stay away from that and maybe steer those people to a tree and then put a tag on it or a stone at the base of it. I think that would make more sense. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that. And Sherry, thank you very much for this. Was really impressive, and I got a lot of green there, which is good. Green is good on the highlight.
Okay.
And I did have a question about a small point about the tree donation. Would they be recognized somehow? The stone is a great idea. Yeah, I think it's imperative because it seems to be more and more that people want to do things and donate things and get involved, and they have a standard like that. Here's your options: A, B, C, and D. And if they really want to pursue E, then they can show up and talk to us. But yeah, I think this is great stuff, great starting point, and not be hard nosed about it, but you know, here are your options. Here's what the bench looks like. Here's where we need trees and things like that. So well done, and it's great stuff.
Is it possible for us to go back and tell them they can't be marking the benches?
No, I think we already moved on.
That was just one, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the other things we want to revisit is the little free libraries coming through. We've got a couple of them, and from listening to DPW, they become they're a maintenance issue, repair, replacement with picking up. I think maybe we just look to steer people in a different project if they come forward with a different direction of things moving forward.
But then hopefully if we have that information posted in a policy, then they don't do too much work ahead of time before they come to Parks Commission and they're like, oh, we didn't know we couldn't do any more little free libraries. So hopefully, this would kind of head some of that off at the pass, and you hate to see people wasting their time on something.
Exactly.
Big.
I like that. That's kind of funny.
Well, what would be nice too, though, is parks actually need something, if you have a need for something, to make a list and then have them choose from the list what they want to make. Like, you're kind of telling them what we're looking for, like birdhouses or stuff like that. You're giving them suggestions. A list is so that they kind of come to you and they ask, well, this is what we're looking for our parks to use.
If you'd like to donate $225,000 for a new floor for the playground.
Yeah,
You know.
Well, you never know. It could be something that they could do as a group and they can stuff like that. So it's stuff that I'm sorry. Stuff that you would want maybe is a better way to go about it instead of stuff that you don't really need. I'm sure that's easy to come up with a little list of things that could be done. Like I know that like that memorial that was done by a Boy Scout in front of City Hall, wasn't it, at one point? And wasn't you have like a music thing that
The band shell.
that was done by a scout. Those are like awesome. Those are big items and they fundraised for them and they completed the project because they have like a 4-year period to do this thing, I think. So it's kind of a wish list of what you guys really want. You know. And even like you have Arbor Day, like I know I come from Greenfield, they planted a lot of their trees during the Arbor Day and they had a designated area whether it was a school. And then we would say, well, we're doing this property. And if you're interested in buying a tree, you can donate money or we gave them a price for the tree, what it costs and stuff like that. So that's how they did it. So you take areas that you want to do and a lot of people that are living there, then they'll donate to the trees there. So it's kind of like you're buying a tree, but where is it going? You know, like you want these new parks and stuff. So you kind of have a plan so you can buy, you know, like focus on that kind of stuff more so than here's the money for a tree. It's going to be 20 miles away from your house, but you know, get your communities involved into it more, you know, little areas.
How much does playground equipment cost? Like low and a high, that too out of line for a project for a scout troop. Playground equipment
It's
to
expensive.
buy.
On the low side for like a small playground, probably 50,000 and up to 100 for a decent size.
Forget it.
So, I mean, that's kind of somewhere in there. Maybe I should, you know, I sent that email to you guys and I just want to let you know, I guess where I was coming from. We don't have a separate parks department. We have the DPW, which is made up of 16 guys right now. And that includes streets, forestry and parks. And during the summer, usually two guys are cutting grass. So that takes 2 guys right off the bat right there. And by the time you got the guys doing forestry, I don't know, 2 to 4 guys a day. And streets takes a lot of guys. So you're down to maybe 1 person a day on parks. And to take care of 5 pavilions, to clean all the restrooms and get those in order, Kayla's playground. By the time you do those daily tasks, there's not a lot of time left after that for 1 person. So I guess I'm not trying to say, you know, woe is me. I mean, but you know, it is what it is. So we don't have a lot of extra time to take care of stuff. So I was just thinking about the little free libraries. And even this morning, I went to Kayla's playground to check it after the weekend, and someone must have stocked the library recently because there was a lot of books, but then some kids must have taken them and put them in one of the 2 houses right at the entrance. So they took them out of the library and put them into two. If it would have snowed or if it was summertime and it would have rained, they would all got trashed because it would just got all wet. You know what happens, and I guess if they were little free libraries were put at Ernie Lake and Legend 1 and 2 and Wendell, I think was the 4 parks. It would just take more time to take care of those, and like Ernie Lake, I don't go there every day. I'll admit that. I just don't have the time. So you would have to go there more often to make sure that was, you know, in order, that type of thing. So I don't know. Just
Well, some of those things, like if you have like the Friends of your Parks and you had a committee that would work on something like that, you can assign them to come and take care of things a little bit. The book thing is a hard thing to take care of. I understand that, but
from Kayla's, we know that we got to look at it every day because
yeah,
they get messed up almost every day. So
that's a heavy use park there.
yeah.
But I think if you're really thinking about the Friends, they can do more than just pick weeds and stuff like that. You can actually make them a committee and they can take care of some of that stuff, take it off of your hands a little bit. You can use them. That's what they're there for. They want to do stuff like that. They want to take care of your parks too. So yeah, I'm just saying it's wise to have a Friends of the Parks because you can actually use them and they form their own little committee and help you out. They're there to help you. So it's something that I think you really consider them doing.
Back to the donation policy. Do we want to take a look at this and maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll take a look at this at home and try to add or take a few things away, and maybe we can take a look at it again in March, if that makes sense to everybody.
If folks want to send comments, staff.
Absolutely. Oh, that'd be great. Excellent.
And one more thing, the girls that want to build a little free libraries, they already spent $308. So I don't know. It looks like they went on the Little Free Library website and kind of were trying to use their design to build these things, but they already spent $300. So
I believe we already told them we could go ahead with that one, but I think moving forward, I think we just walk away
No
and
more
steer
Little
them
Free
to
Library.
steer them to somewhere else.
oh, okay. I was under the impression they were going to use the same plastic wood as what Kayla
Yes.
at Kayla's
That's what
playground.
my understanding
Yes.
was as well.
They were
That's
gonna,
what it said here.
Like that one up there, there's one board on the base of it that's wood. The bottom of the Little Free Library, that's wood. It's like 2x8s, but the rest of it is plastic wood, so it's actually holding up real well.
I believe those girls the young ladies were supposed to use materials that were approved by the DPW.
Yeah, that's what the kids did with the books this morning, so. I mean, the kids will be kids and, oh, let's make a cool little library over here. I'll be the librarian and you know, check out books or something, you know, that looks like what they were doing, so.
Yeah, our minutes do say, provided they are built with material approved by DPW. So it is right there in the minutes.
We can't have it installed until it meets what we asked for, so.
Right.
Excellent. Well, I guess we'll jump ahead back to number 4, the unfinished
Well-
business. Oh, sure.
Yeah, well, we're just wondering how we should proceed with this. I mean,
Have they been in contact with you guys about what they purchased or the materials, or? When we gave them permission to do it, we just told them that they had to meet criteria, and if they're not following through, I mean, we can reach back out to them. And, you know, explain to them that there's certain material that we wanted in our parks. This is what we're looking for. This was part of what was agreed upon. That makes sense. And obviously it won't be installed until probably what, looking at the weather, probably April. But you don't want them to spend the money, construct it, and then show up and tell them no. I don't know who would be best to reach out to have that conversation with. Should that come from the commission or?
Well, like I said, it's $308 worth of stuff. They gave me a material list of what they already bought.
Well, can they return it and get different?
I don't know. I don't want to, you know, I don't know what to tell them because I don't want to help, you know, help them, or I don't want to build the whole thing for them.
Right.
Yet, you know, it's kind of hard to figure out a good way to get it done.
Does the list have the right materials?
No, they just see, Little Free Library website has a material list of building, just a basic Little Free Library. And the ones that they're building doesn't have any shingles on it or nothing. It's got some kind of sealer on the roof. So it's definitely not gonna last very long. And I guess, I don't know what to do at this point.
Sure.
Well, then once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
That's
It'll
just
be
how
gone
it
in
is.
2
And it
years.
should be up to you to just take it
Right,
down.
just to take it down then. It's their project. It's not intended to be there to last a lifetime, I guess.
But is it, I mean, if it doesn't look good in the end, who makes that call? I mean, you want something in the parks that looks
That
good,
looks-
right?
right.
I mean,
And at that point, then it just becomes wasteful if it's just going to be gone in 2 years, if it doesn't hold up.
Right.
And I don't know that that's, you know, that's not the goal.
I mean, would this be something that the commission should reach out to the young ladies about? Because I'd have no problem reaching out to them and letting them know. Or is that something that would be easier if it came from DPW or?
I would suggest one of us.
Yeah.
Say, look,
How's it going? Yeah.
Yeah.
we want to work with you, want to make this happen, but as of right now, according to the bad guys, the material's not right. I know
Yeah.
that guy.
Just one bad guy.
one guy right here.
Yeah. If you could give me their name, I'll gladly.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
you hate to go down this long road and maybe they could sell these fairly with other state, whatever, but you know, rules are rules, and if the material's not acceptable by you guys, then let's.
But I guess then the next question is, what design do we want? And I mean, do we have to draw it up for them and pick the material? You know, it gets.
Can we just tell them to come look at the Kayla's playground?
I mean, Mike, you could probably see them on.
Yeah. Well,
Here's some material you know as well as anybody. What material they can, maybe you can just. Give them a material list of this type of wood, these type of screws, you know, they're galvanized.
Okay.
All that stuff, I think.
Yeah, we can.
I don't want to
figure it
put extra in the plate.
No, but that's fine.
I also don't want to overthink this.
Yeah. Is there a list of preferred materials or all material?
Put that together.
Yeah.
Well, I think they also, because a lot of these are seniors that are doing, like seniors in high school, and they have a deadline too to complete this project. So
Right.
we may be past that point already.
And we may be.
Yeah. Like,
But yeah, I'll have no problem having a conversation with them. I mean, are you guys looking at pressure treated wood or do you want like a plastic decking kind of material? Sure. That's fine. I'll give you a call tomorrow, Kevin.
I think those were Girl Scouts anyway.
Nope, they were the seniors, I think. This was their.
yeah, this is their final
Yeah.
project. Yeah.
I'll give you a call tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll talk. All right, sounds good. I guess we'll move on from that. We'll move on to the unfinished business. Can we have an update on parks maintenance, gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean, this month, we really haven't been doing too much in the parks. I check them and clean the bathrooms that are open regularly, and we're plowing the paths, cutting some dead trees in the parks. We cut some trees at Franklin Woods, Meadowlands Trail, and Legend Park, and Wendell. Other than that, at Pleasantview Park, we're at Pavilion, we're doing some inside work. We changed some of the, we got keyed garage doors now, so the wiring was changed, so I kind of made that look more finished than it was. Fixing that up a little bit. What else? There was a trap found in Franklin Woods Park by a dog walker, and the DNR was called about that, and they're doing an investigation, but they really can't find who set the trap. It may have not even been set in the park. It could have been set on private property, and the animal dragged it there. There was 2 toes cut off in it, so and a blood trail. So I couldn't tear.
Did they look like a squirrel?
No, it looked like, I don't know. It
was big.
Yeah. Looked like a big cat to me. That's because his claws are real sharp.
Cougar.
Because I did find part of a squirrel on the trail one day.
Oh,
Or my dog found it, let's put it that way.
oh, that's about it in the park maintenance.
Excellent.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Don't you turn off the aerators at Lake Ernie?
No, I guess, I don't know what the maintenance on those is, but shouldn't they be turned off in the winter? That's just wasting electricity.
There's 6 of them going. Okay. Yeah, that's the idea. Lake freezes then. But there's no purpose.
And you gotta pull the aerators out,
Oh,
right? You have to
Okay.
pull them out in the fall and install them in the spring.
okay. I just thought it was a switch you turned off.
Expansion.
Just to remove them then?
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll move on to B, uniform signage for all parks. B.
Didn't we wait with that for Shelley?
What's that?
Didn't we wait with that at the last meeting for Shelley?
Yeah, I guess we'll wait for the next meeting for Shelley with that one. We'll move on to C, park permit fees and deposits for rentals of pavilions and other facilities at all city Franklin parks.
That would be me again. I had left some stuff and I think you guys were gonna go look, someone was gonna look at it. Did anybody have that time to do that? No?
So the materials you provided were routed to Public Works, including laundry, the staff number that the permit.
Okay.
Cleaning be done for the post office, who is the body that actually the office that we will go to. Permits. It was routed to them, however, there's no election tomorrow, so we got positive feedback on, but they said that they give us back after
Okay,
There's
no,
one
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did also, the, what's the name?
Mhm.
The clerk's office has it.
Oh, the illustrator, okay, beautiful.
So that's kind of where we are now. I they let me know that a couple of people are correct, by generally.
Right, right. Well, see, that's interesting because I pulled it pretty much from their website.
I know.
So if I was wrong, then they're wrong on their website also.
It might be worth checking where some of the.
Right, so you can clear out everything. Yeah, yeah.
I marked up a copy and you're right, there's a lot of wrong information on the website. So we
Mhm.
just took that right over
Yep.
and, yeah, so.
Yeah, yeah. So it is interesting. So I can't wait to actually see what you guys come up with and stuff like that. And I'm willing to do it and stuff. And now if you know someone else has it, so they can make corrections and stuff at any time later, that would be awesome, you know?
So I'm gonna compile back.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But I do have a question in mind about what folks want to do.
Mhm.
A lot of questions.
Right, right,
Way on this.
right. Yeah, so like I said, I've been really bored because I'm retired now and stuff like that. So I saw something that Milwaukee County had and it was really a nice, they'd have a packet. So you go on your website and you go to this little packet and it describes like, see now that Franklin's getting more rental things and stuff, and I'm doing this for DPW to help you guys so that we're all on the same page. And when the people are renting, they're on the same page and the people renting the facility are all on the same page. So it's a little booklet and it's a little bit longer than like it kind of what the intent is. So like every park has its own little page and it tells you exactly what's at the park and in the pavilion. Is there air conditioning? I don't think there is, but let them know that there's not air conditioning. So it kind of describes everything that's in the facility. So what I would like to continue to work on this, like over spring, take pictures of the facilities and stuff like that. I'm able to do that, like nice pictures. And then kind of put what's in there and what's not in there. And like, is there parking there? Is there, what's exactly comes with your permit? You know, it's kind of a neat thing. So if you guys wanted to look this over too, you don't have to, it's just an idea. And I would just go to the parks and look at everything and see what's there as if I were a renter and what questions I would have on each little facility and stuff. So it's kind of a neat thing that Milwaukee County did. And I think the more we're growing and getting things, I know you guys don't want to hear that, but I think the more people know what they're getting and what's available, it helps everybody all around. So you'd be able just to go online and say, oh, here it is, and this is it. So if you want to just look around or pass this around, and it kind of explains more, it's more detail, like on the permit, what I had before was just a real brief thing. This is what you kind of get with it, but this is a more detailed version of it. So you're just pinpointing everything down and making life easier on people so that they pretty much know what they're getting. So you just refer, it's kind of a neat idea, isn't it? When you're looking at it.
Yes.
So we really wouldn't have to run it
like
off.
this.
Yeah, it's similar to that. It's like the welcome on that, but it's a more detailed version of it.
But I like this too.
Right.
I like the everything combined.
So that's kind of what it would be. So I'm willing to work on it if you guys are willing to let me do it or whatever. If not, I'll just let it go. So, but it kind of helps. I mean, truly, when I saw theirs, I was like, oh, I'm so jealous of them. but why not apply it to what we have?
I would think the tourism commission would really like it too.
Yeah, I think they would. Well, and the other thing is too, like, I know we rent like those, the historical society buildings and stuff, like, I don't see any information on that. And I know that we rent some of the ball diamonds for Little League practice or something. There's no information anyplace on there. So this would include all that information also.
I went to the historical site at Christmas and married.
Yeah, my neighbors did, yeah. But see, but you don't know that. No one knows this stuff. Like, does the city handle the permits for the historical society? They handle that. But I look at it as a big picture, like as one big group that will promote their stuff and get it out so that we know that, you know, who's doing what and stuff like that. Kind of a neat idea. It's in our parks. We should actually know this stuff, right?
Exactly. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just one of these things that it's just some little more details and stuff like that, so.
Excellent. Well, we'll move on to letter D, status of the Pleasantview Park Plan site.
This is in the council package for tomorrow night. So we had our budget increased from last year. Last year, our budget was 300,000. Then we added 120 to it this year. We shuffled the base bid and all. Let's take the pickle parts out of it. Pickleball courts out of the base bid, make it an alternate. But if you look at what they did, a low bidder, their budget.
Fit it all in?
The only thing that's not in this bid that was the very first bid purchase. So, tomorrow night. Hopefully it'll be stuff.
But should this be approved and we move forward, and award the bid, work would begin as soon as possible in the spring?
Yeah. How's that? Way we wrote the bid, don't remember the exact dates, but basically give them all some start. When they start, so we don't want to start to be very flexible. That they should have like they have always contractors. They have a job going.
Sure.
Try to be flexible.
That makes sense.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you.
Have we worked with Always Contractors in the past?
I'm told we have. They were a subcontractor on Austin. Yeah, and we had very good luck with them.
Okay.
And great consultant, all a lot of reference. Some came back growing. So we
Excellent. Thank you. I guess last, let's look at letter E, 2022 budget. Parks Commission requests for information on personnel additions, capital outlay fund needs, equipment revolving fund needs, street improvement fund needs, and major capital expenditures to be made with borrowed funds. Park amenities, including ice skating rink.
So this item, the commission recommends capital budget to for the inclusion of $1,000 for an ice skating. So.
We Okay. I'm trying to get the most we can get.
We needed a recommendation for just ice skating. Okay, I would.
What park is this going into? Oh, you don't know where it's going. Oh, okay.
So it's a portable,
Mhm.
so it could set up. Then a base. As the recommendation.
Mhm. Mhm.
So.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, throw it in. Wait. Oh, no, go ahead.
From my experience, with county, with skating rinks and things, we used to maintain all the ponds, like religiously after every snowfall. Due to our staffing issues, we've gotten away from that, but the community has stepped up in some of the locations. We've had a group of dedicated volunteers that come out. They help set up, they flood a couple parks. We flooded basketball courts and they've taken that on. Just agreed to have neighborhoods take over maintenance and we try to assist if we can. But like Scout Lake, for example, is maintained by a group of Greendale residents right now that go out there and shovel it off after it snows and just skate with what you have. So maybe if this is too taxing, I'm sure you could put out a call or for a setup of some community volunteers or, you know, there's always kids from the high school looking for hours, set it up. And we've had success with having fire departments come and help flood, whether it's they test equipment, it's a hose or something. It looks great for them to put on their pictures, flood it and fill it and go from there.
No, I was just gonna mention, when I was a kid, we played hockey in that little pond right next to Fire Station 1, between Fire Station 1 and Legend 2. It's already there. I don't know if it's big enough for what we need or if it stays frozen enough or whatever, but I mean, there's already a pond there and the fire department's right next door. So if you wanted them to flood it, I mean, is that an option?
Right next to the fire department? In the back there?
Yeah, just to the east of the fire department,
Yeah.
between Legend 2 and the fire department. Just throwing it out there.
Sure. Right. No, understandable.
Well, unlikely we wouldn't get it up until next winter.
Yeah.
There's a pond also in Mission Hills wetlands that I walk every morning with my dog around the pond, but it's surrounded by cattails, which is the same at the firehouse. And every time it thaws just a little bit, I fall through the cattails. I mean, every year I fall through. Once I fell through up to my armpits.
Oh my
but
God.
Dear.
it's a little more dangerous, I think, when it's surrounded by the cattails. I think have to clear that out. So there was an entranceway where everybody would come in the same place.
Sure, yeah.
That's kind of my thought too. If you've got parents with little kids, you know, the ice skate.
So maybe putting something right behind the firehouse and letting the fire department flood it. And maybe they'd maintain it. I mean, shovel it.
Run that, son.
Okay.
We don't even know if they'd come in under the $6,000, correct?
What's that?
The company that we reached out to.
That's what we're expecting.
Sure. Are we sure that the rink would come in within the budget that we can set aside?
So, yeah, we looked at two companies and I mean, you can get them very, very small, you can get them very, very big, you can get all the bells and whistles, you can get this and that, whatever. So really, I'm trying to get them as big as we can with bumpers. So like one company, it was like, I'm going from memory here, like 40 by 80.
Mhm.
It would be the size that we'd probably wind up, that or something smaller. The two companies had some they were very close in price. One was, we think, a better option, but it was like 1,100, or I'm sorry, it was like instead of 6,000, it was like 6,100 something dollars. So I'm gonna see if they can knock off enough and we can get that one.
Sure. 40 by 80 is probably the size of a volleyball court, right? Roughly. A little bigger than that.
I would think it'd be bigger than that.
Put in a rink size they did.
I would think a volleyball is probably only like 20 foot wide.
Okay. Excellent.
This room's probably what, 30?
Yeah.
30 foot this way.
Do they?
30 by 60.
Okay.
That company have any around?
I did not ask that question. They're just companies on the internet.
Sure. I'm just thinking if you threw it the size of a volleyball court, then you wouldn't have to go back out and restore turf here.
And the other thing that, and we selected each option like the heaviest, dutiest. So like one company called it the DPW Parks Edition. So basically it was, I think 3 layers of 10 mil plastic. So. Easy something and nice something.
Nice and easy.
They built their own.
So yeah, the only extra we got was the heaviest duty, and then we got the bumper to the top. So when you fall over, you don't get hurt. But yeah, you can get all kinds of nets and other things. And we said, let's not encourage hockey. People will do it, but we don't want to be responsible to, as soon as we put a net out there, now we have to maintain nets all winter too. That's right. Yeah.
Fantastic. Were we starting? Were we looking at a question for that or?
Sure, I will move. Is this a recommendation to council?
Mhm.
I would move to recommend to common council the purchase of an ice skating rink, a portable ice skating rink
Excuse me.
for Franklin Parks.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
For $6,000 and it's in the budget, I don't know that we necessarily need to go back to common
I
council.
don't think we did too either.
So-
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought either.
Okay.
But if you can authorize us to make that expenditure, that would, I think sufficient.
Okay.
Then I move
I don't have a finance director to scold me, so we're fine.
I move to have staff make the purchase of the ice skating rink as budgeted in the 2022 budget.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. I believe that covers everything for the agenda tonight. The next meeting date would be March.
14th.
Yeah, March 14th.
February has 28 days, so it's always a.
Excellent. Then I guess we'd be looking to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Excellent. Thank you very much.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Muskego that just did it.
But I got a quick question. Subdivision. By Jack. Retention pond, the subdivision is responsible. Bad. Area. I have to draw power. That's- Stuff.
Yes, I do too, Karen.
That's what you should. You just assume it's what you're not. It's not surprising. But I just said, what do you need this? What? I gotta want to do it. So yeah, I would call it. Sure.
Okay. I might reach out. Yeah, that's.
Where? Possibly.
But I like it.
I'll look it over, and see what we need, don't need, changes. Hoping DPW is like decide if costs are in line and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's just a start.
Well, actually, you wouldn't even have to use what they had then. You just replace it. You want to see this for you guys? You guys can see this then. So this is the page thing. So this would just describe one park. And so it says when you can rent it, even the table arrangements, the standard table arrangements and stuff, so that they know what they're getting.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes you can have a couple of them and then you can choose, like, I want this table arrangement, but I don't know how far you want to go, but this is where you would do that and stuff like that. So it's kind of I was really excited when I saw that. So